All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Conversations with Rob. If you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, type in Conversations with Rob and hit that subscribe button as hard as you can. Hit that like button after you watch all the videos. This is our 15th video. Right now, I'm interviewing a guy that I've become to love as a person and as a baseball player, Douglas Toro. At Lynn, he was a superstar there, and he won the 2009 national championship as the Lynn University baseball player. So, Toro, always good to have you on. It's a pleasure seeing you again, and hope you're having fun with all that cold weather up in Montreal.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, bro. Yes, winter's almost over, but we're just battling here.
All right, so let's talk about that. So that championship you won in 2009, that was the first ever championship for the Lynn University Fighting Knights, 2-1 victory over Emporia State. So let's talk about your journey throughout baseball. So how did you come about playing baseball? Why did you pick baseball?
I was born in Venezuela, man. So it was the national sport. And I was just playing with my friends, hanging out outside just after school, just liking it. And then I moved to Canada when I was 12. In Canada, I decided to play ball just to, have some friends and get used to the culture, learn some French as well. So I just loved it, and I was good at it, so I had the chance to go to the state and play ball.
So you know 3 languages then, Spanish, English, and French, correct?
Yeah, man. In Montreal, it's bilingual, so they speak English and French fluently in the city. So yes, I had to learn them both.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. 3 languages, very impressive. So let's go back. What position did you play at Lynn, and in general?
I was playing third baseman my junior year, and then I was DHing. I was a leadoff DH my senior year, which was super fun. I really enjoyed it. I was just focused on one thing, crushing the baseball.
That's for sure. So what made you choose Lynn? You went to Lynn for 3 years, correct? What made you choose to go to Lynn?
Listen, I had some friends. Nicolas Blue, he played baseball for Lynn. He's from Canada. And Nicolas Boisvert, which was runner-up for National Player of the Year. And we played together here in Canada. So I asked them, guys, can you guys hook me up? I want to go to Florida. I was in Missouri first in a community college. It's called Crowder College. And then I wanted to go to a place a little warmer.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It must have been real cold, and with all that snow over there also, as you're getting in Montreal too.
Bro, can you hold it real quick? My kid is crying.
Sure, yeah.
Give me a second.
All right, Toro. So let's get back into talking about the championship. So you guys went 46 and I believe 16 rather that year, 49 and 16. So playing all those games, let's just talk about that year. You were playing with the likes of Tommy Kaline, who's in the major leagues. Gabe McDougall made it to the major leagues. Also great efforts by you, of course, Christian Chavez, Chad Crow, Leo, all the rest of the games. So just talk about that. Yeah, how was it to play through, winning all those games? You guys were 28-4 at home. So how was it to play through all that?
Honestly, like the team, we had a good team, man. We're a very good defensive team, a bunch of Gold Glovers in the field, and we're just able to play defense, run the bases, and have a little bit of power. I think pitching, we're struggling a little bit for a while, but we had an All-American pitcher that was just good for us the whole time. Danny Wright.
Yeah, Danny Wright, that's right too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that run. So you guys had that 4-game run throughout the playoffs and then winning that national championship against Emporia State. Did you guys have a lot of people from Lynn that traveled to watch you guys, students, alumni, faculty, whatever, or even family for that matter?
Yeah. I think my personal opinion is that Lynn was more into tennis. It was more like a tennis culture because they won a few national championships, even golfing. Baseball, they were starting to be better, but we just never had anything to show for it. So that year, it was like a surprise. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, always a few people, a few parents, friends, girlfriends. They came up to support us. We had the regional championship in Magnolia, Arkansas, in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
and we won four straight games and to win the tournament. Then we access to the national championship in North Carolina.
That's great that some people came to, cheer you guys on. I know it was a long trip all over the place for that. So let's, as you said, the team was pretty good, good camaraderie. Everybody kind of got along with each other. Do you guys still talk, or have you spent time with any of the guys? I know everybody's all over the place and in different jobs since they, graduated college and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about social media is like about a lot of people, but we don't talk a lot to a lot of people. We do a bunch of likes, but I talked to a few guys, just saying hi and liking their pics, just saying happy birthday, things like that.
Right.
Lynn always organized an alumni game, which I haven't had the chance to go. But not that often, man. I saw actually Joe Roselli a few times. He came to Montreal. We just had a good time in here, but not that. Not. I want to see them more eventually, but that will happen.
Well, it is a good place to visit Montreal. So whether you're on the Lynn baseball team or you're just going as a fan, it's always a great city to go. A lot of history, a lot of culture there. A great nightlife too in Montreal, also. So
yeah, man, it's super romantic, man. So I advise to your fans to come down here and just hit me up. I'll hook you up with some nice places, churches and stuff.
Okay. All right. So since 2009, what have you been doing with baseball? I know I've seen some pictures of you playing in Sherbrooke. Can you just tell the viewers what you've been doing as far as baseball goes?
Well, after I won the national championship, I played, it's called independent baseball in Quebec City. A bunch of ex-minor leaguers, they play there, a bunch of college guys too. It's a professional level. It's independent, so it's not affiliated with any of the major league teams. I played for them for 1 year. And after that, I just went to Lynn, finished my master's, and now I'm just playing the men's league for fun, which is still competitive, but I still like it. I'm 34, and I still want to play until I'm at least 46 years old.
Okay.
Julio Franco style.
Okay, Julio Franco. Well, maybe by the time you're done playing, we'll have the Expos hopefully back in Montreal. That's my wish as a person that loves Montreal and has been there for many Expo games in the past. And it was really sad. So let's even talk about that. I do want to get your opinion on do you think that the Expos will ever come back to Montreal? Because I believe that the reason why they left was. And wait, why? Because remember, there was a lot of good players that came through Montreal. Pedro, Jose Vidro, Vladimir Guerrero, recent teams, Michael Barrett as a catcher, Chris Wisjo. I mean, we could name all kinds of players.
Even Tom Brady was drafted by the Expos.
I didn't even know. I didn't even remember that. That's true. So, I mean, they have a lot of championship guys. But, I mean, a lot of good baseball players have really come through Montreal. Do you believe that they'll ever come back?
Dude, like here, we talk a lot about the Expos, even though they're not here anymore. They do a few exhibition games, like 2 exhibition games every year. Like this year, it's going to be the Toronto Blue Jays against the Milwaukee Brewers. It's packed. The stadium, it's like full capacity. Out. They sell out, and they have the stadium. They have the investors. All they need, from what I've heard, it's the approval of MLB baseball. So we're just waiting for that, and I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and it was just like that. Jeff Loria was really a jerk, and he really ruined that. Because if you remember, and I'm sure you do, being from that area, they were supposed to build that stadium downtown right near the Canadiens Arena, the Bell Center. And then everything fell through, and that was supposed to be a real nice arena. I mean, a stadium, rather, for the Expos. And then they never moved. So they never really have had a real baseball stadium in Montreal. And I believe that's why that people haven't really went to the games.
Exactly, man. The stadium, it's called the Big O, which is the Olympic Stadium. It was built for the Olympics in '76. So I mean, it was a good facility, I guess, for that time, but there was nothing around it. Baseball, people want to be entertained. You want to have restaurant shops. You want to see
Yeah.
something. So the spot wasn't really good for baseball for the fans. It was all as well. So a new stadium was going to change everything for baseball in Montreal, and that just never happened.
Yeah, it's really a shame because like we spoke about just now, so many big good baseball players. And you know what? If you're a fan, you don't want to go and watch bad baseball. They get a good team. Remember, in '94, they went to they were going to go to the playoffs that year. Then they had
Yes.
the strike, and they
Yeah.
probably would have won the World Series because that team was so good with so many great players. Randy Johnson went through Montreal too, another great player. I mean, we can Marquise Grissom, all kinds of guys.
Yeah.
But, so many good players on that '94 team, then they strike. And then you got an owner that's trading all the good players away for young talent, which is good. But, I mean, we could go back to what the Marlins are doing with Derek Jeter down there. They traded everyone away. And, I mean, now they're bad again, which is a shame in Miami. But anyways, I digress to a different topic. But
That year about '94 honestly was like a curse for the city of Montreal because that
yeah,
team was just maybe one of the greatest team in baseball. Like they were
right.
just killing it. They were better than the Atlanta Brave, which it
Yeah,
was the dynasty at the time. And the strike came in. All they had to do was just to keep the same players, and they just didn't do it. They traded everybody, and that was a disaster. That was the end of baseball for the city of Montreal.
yeah, I agree. It's really too bad. But let's just talk more about the men's league. How were you playing in that league? I mean, the last year you were with Lynn. You had that 4 home run,
Yeah.
51 RBIs, and 28 stolen bases. Are you still cranking the long ball out and getting those ribbies, or stealing any bases, or what?
Dude, I honestly this league it's a good league for Canada. Like some people from the US they come and play, some college kids, and
Right.
they impress. It's a lot of kids they went to play D1 pro baseball, Division 2 community college, so they just end up playing this league. It's a men's league in Quebec. It's the best league here in Quebec, and it's
Yeah.
very competitive, man. So yeah, of course I can still rake, can have my home runs here and there, but I don't steal bases anymore though. I'm too old,
Okay.
man. Getting a little heavier, but I eat doubles instead.
Hey, it's all right. Anyway, so let's talk more about. So it's kind of a family tradition, I guess, in the Toro family baseball.
Yeah,
Because I'm seeing that your brother is now playing for the Astros. So if you could talk more
yeah,
about that with your brother and how, that's kind of like the tradition. So your brother's younger than you,
yeah,
obviously. So you won a national championship. Now your brother's
yeah,
playing and he's playing baseball for the Astros. So what's the
yeah.
story with him with the Astros?
Well, just to make a little comment about that. First of all, what happened is here. You're in Quebec. People speak French. When you hear French, you don't think about baseball. There's a lot of good talent here in Quebec.
Mhm.
What happened is that nobody wants to come and look at the players here. So
Right.
that was my case, and that was the case of a lot of like Canadian players. With my brother, it was a little bit the same thing. He was here, he was playing, he was good, but nobody was really paying attention. He
Sure.
went to the U.S., he went to community college, he killed the league over there, 20 bombs
Wow.
in Seminole Community College in Oklahoma. Then he got drafted in the 5th round for the Houston Astros.
Wow.
He played rookie ball, A ball. Last year he played Double A, and this year he's doing big league camp with the Houston Astros.
Wow. So is he going to be in AAA this year?
I have no idea yet,
Oh yeah, because they
but
haven't made
we'll
the
see.
roster.
We'll find out in a few weeks. But he's doing good. He's hitting over 300 in spring
Wow.
training, 2 bombs. So yeah, man, happy
Wow. So
for
he
him.
seems like he's really moving up the ladder pretty fast. So
Yeah,
maybe
man,
he'll
he's
move you out of Montreal for a little bit to some hot weather down in Houston to get you out of that
oh my
cold for a
God,
little bit.
dude, so much snow in here. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. But I
Is it
love
still
this place though.
snowing over there?
There's still snow outside. It's cold, but I guess we're getting. I'm used to it, man. I just don't even think about that anymore.
Right. All right. So what position does your brother play, by the way? I didn't ask you that.
He played third base.
Okay, third base.
Yeah,
So same as you. Okay. That's
yeah.
cool. All right. So
He came.
now,
He came to Lincoln University for a few games once. Meet the
oh,
guys. Just yeah, I was there in the field. Yeah,
oh,
so
all
that was
right.
fun.
So let's and we just talked about this before we went on the air, but let's bring this back. I want to pick your mind about the Venezuelans, being a Venezuelan, and
Yeah.
you've lived there, right, in the past, correct?
I lived in Venezuela. I lived in Venezuela until I was 12, and
Okay.
then I moved back when I was 14 until I was 15. So yeah, I did live in Venezuela. I remember
All right.
very
So
well my country.
so if you could talk about the time, so and like I said, full disclosure, we did talk about this before we went on the air, but we're going to recap
Yeah,
it for everybody else because I want to get the truth out. Because we hear in the
yeah,
media, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, whatever news, that Venezuela is this evil place,
yeah,
socialism, terrible place. So I want to talk to somebody that's lived there for 12 years and that still has family there to try to get the
yeah.
true story out. So Toro, tell us about Venezuela in general. You lived there for 12 years. You still have family there. Is it this
Yeah,
evil, bad place with all these socialist dictators that are killing
yeah.
people and all this bad stuff?
You know what, Robert? The thing is that it depends who you ask. And
Okay.
I have family that have strong, you know, attachment to the actual government, and I have family that don't. And like let's say my grandma, which I love, when she talks about the government, she's passionate. She's like, listen, we're good, we're working, people that are, they're just working together in peace. And when you talk to other of my friends, other people that are part of the opposition, they have their opinion about a dictatorship, about just a regime that is not letting the people go free, controlling the voting system. So basically, the country's polarized.
Mhm.
So it depends really who you ask.
Okay. So living there. So let's just talk about what's going on there now. So
Yeah,
obviously, President Trump and the U.S. government wants Juan Guaido to be president and says
yeah,
he's the legitimate leader instead of Maduro, who is the president
yeah,
now. We've seen that Maduro, and this is factual. This is not me making this up or Doug
yeah.
making this up. Maduro was elected by the people in a real election. There was no cheating. There was no hanky panky. So with that known, what is your, and if you do want to answer this, if you don't, it's fine too. What
Yeah.
is your true feelings about what's going on in Venezuela now?
Well, the U.S. or Canada or the European Union, they have no words in another country's business. Venezuela, they're not going to decide who's the president of the United States, or another country is not going to decide who's the president of Canada or prime minister of Canada,
Right.
or vice versa. So it's not it's not even a thing about if you like the president or not. It's that the people voted, they choose their president, and
Mhm.
let's just move on. If the opposition president Juan Guaido, he goes into the candidacy and he wins the election, then he wins the election. It's not that complicated.
Well, the
It's not about if you like the government or not. It's the people choose their president, and that's what has happened in Venezuela for the last 20 years. A lot of people disagree with it, and they have the right to disagree with it. I think we need an opposition. Not everybody can take a like. But at the end of the day, people have to vote to choose the president, which they have.
Right. Well, the thing is, Jimmy Carter, one of the former presidents of the
Yeah,
United States, went down there with his foundation. They looked at the elections. Also, the UN said that there was no
yeah,
problems with the elections. Period in Venezuela, they were fair and there was nothing going on.
yeah,
We do have no issue in going. We have no issue in going into all these other countries, which is not right, and putting in taking out their person and putting in our guy. And it's just not fair to the other country. If somebody was elected fair and square, you got to respect that. Venezuela's not doing anything to hurt us. They're not trying to bomb us. They're
Yeah,
not saying death to America. They're not. They don't have
exactly.
nuclear bombs. So you know,
We haven't invited anybody.
right? Yeah,
Venezuela has no history of war. The situation it's difficult, and I do want to be careful in my wording.
yeah,
But I'm going to give you an example. I was talking about my grandma, which I love. She voted for President Maduro. The
sure,
U.S., the UN, and Canada are telling her that her vote is worth nothing.
right.
And like my grandma, there's a lot of people like her. Like there's a lot of people in the opposition also. The only way to win a presidency in a democratic country is by voting. People
Mhm.
they keep saying is a dictatorship. There's no proof of that, but they keep saying it, and that's all we see in the media. That's their opinion, I guess. But in Venezuela, in the last 20 years, I think they had 23 or 24 elections. If that's a dictatorship regime, I guess we're just misunderstanding the war of democracy. What democracy means, I guess.
Right, and in fairness, we're not saying that Maduro is the greatest guy on earth. We're not saying
Exactly.
that his policies are all great. We're
Exactly.
saying that, and I think we're both on the same page with this. We're saying that Maduro, um, um, I lost my train of thought. We're saying that that Maduro was elected, and you
Yeah.
can't just go in and say this person was not elected. So that's just the way it is.
Rob, let me just put it to you this way. Juan Guaido won the National Assembly. He was the president. He was elected, and nobody said anything. You
Right.
know, he
Well,
didn't show up, and
Juan
Mhm.
Guaido didn't even run for president, if I'm correct.
Not for president, but he won the election of the National Assembly of Venezuela.
Right.
So he was voted in by the people. So the same way he won, the
Mhm.
same way Maduro won. So it's a little ironic that when Guaido won,
Excuse me.
the elections were fair and everything was okay. But when Maduro won, it's trick. There's fraud. The same elections, the same system, the same people voted. And that's the irony about the Venezuela and